One thing I truly love about the Polynesian language, the Maori language, and the way it's used, it's so beautiful in terms of its rhythms and beautiful in terms of its sounds. And even if you don't know what's being said when you're listening to the words, it has a kind of magic that reaches into you. And that really brings me to the sacred sounds. The thing about some languages, the languages that are often hard to listen to, the thing about them is that they've lost the sacred sounds. In fact, if we go to English, we find that we flattened out all the vowels. That's why when many people come to the Maori language, they find it hard to pronounce the words, to get them to be like those of the elders and those who still carry the language into the world. It's hard to open up the vowels instead of flatten them. But it's only the open vowels and the other things that they've retained in the language that holds the sacred sounds. And there are other languages in the world that do just this. In fact, when I'm writing, much of the time I'm listening to medieval plain chant, and they open the vowels, they bring out the sacred sounds, and it's what brings power to their chanting. It's beautiful. It's wonderful for the mind. It settles the mind. It takes you into a place of harmony and one could also say healing, because there are healing sounds. And yet, when we look at the world today, when we get into the cities and into the factories and go to the workplaces, we find that the sound is very different. Very different from that world of the indigenous peoples, where probably the greatest sound you ever heard was the thunder that followed the lightning. Or if you're by the coast, waves crashing against the rocks on the shore. Or if you're very close to an incredible waterfall that's plunging down from a great height, creating immense sound. All the sounds that I spoke of there, they're sounds of nature. Sounds that have been with humankind for a long time. But a fast revving car, a honking bus, a big mechanical machine that's thumping metal, these are not the natural sounds. These are sounds that crash into our minds. I call it the static of our times. It can be very, very wearing. Very difficult stuff to cope with. You see, these changes have happened so suddenly. They've simply become part of our lives. And it's not just the crash and bang of things and the revving of motors, the hum of the wheels that's like a roaring lion coming from the motorways. It's also the electronic sounds. And if you're sleeping with an electronic sound coming through from another room and it's just buzzing away, it can really get to you. It's not a natural sound. It's an invented sound. It's a manufactured sound that impinges on life today. I think it's really important to think about finding the space in life to, if you will, go into the song of silence, the sound of silence. Magical place where we can contemplate and reflect and and bring ourselves into balance again after being assaulted again and again by the sound of the city and the sound of industry, the sound of the train rushing by, the motorways, all that kind of thing. I think it's important to protect ourselves, to take that space, to get away where the sound of the birds have a chance to be part of our lives. The sound of water trickling over rocks can really reach us. The sound of the waterfall in the distance. And we can rejoice in the sound of thunder, and even in the sound of the great whales. Those things were part of the lives of our ancestors for a long, long time. So sound is so important, and we don't know what the birds are saying. We don't know what the crickets are singing. We don't know what's happening in that whole world of communication, of nature, of their place. Perhaps it's time to listen, because all are kin, all life is kin, and we can learn from each other. I think it's important to be of that place. We begin once again to honour sound, to honour the fact that with wonderful creative music we can lift the spirit of whole nations in the power of sound that's created for joy, for depth of being, for nourishment, to inspire, to let us travel into the creative depths of the human mind and heart and spirit. A life without that kind of music would be a dim one, a diminished one. So we can bring into our lives the quality of sound through plain chant, good sound, sacred sound, healing sound, through wondrous musicians who honour the thrill they find within music, who bring the harmonies to life. In these things there is healing, there is hope, there is a dimension that is so important to life.